When you think of the 2018 World Cup winning France squad, what are the first names that come to your mind? Mbappe, Griezmann, Pogba, but there's one player who is just as important as these guys, but isn't spoken about. As France's striker, Giroud was essential to the way they play and was the key to unlocking the full potential of the team. There is a reason why Giroud is the all-time top scorer for the French national team. But what if I told you his most important contribution came when he didn't score? In a position where the main job is to put the ball in the back of the net, how did Giroud help the French national team become world champions without scoring a single one? Giroud not scoring a single goal at the World Cup isn't normal. When you look at the 2016 Euros, Giroud scored 3 goals for France, and in the 2022 World Cup, he won the Bronze Boot after scoring 4 goals. He was always an underrated player, but one thing he brought to every single team was goals. While on loan in the 3rd division of French football, in just his 2nd match, he scored against Laval. 2 weeks later, Giroud scored in back-to-back matches. After a successful loan spell at Istres, a team in the 3rd division of France, where he scored 14 goals in 33 appearances, Giroud returned to Grenoble with the hopes of receiving some significant playing time as the club was now playing in Ligue 1. However, he wasn't a part of Grenoble's plans. Grenoble's coach couldn't see the value of Giroud without scoring. While Giroud was disappointed, that didn't stop his ambition, because he knew that people weren't seeing the game of football the way he does. On the 28th of May 2008, it was reported that Giroud had agreed to a 3-year deal with Ligue 2 club Tours, a team that was in need of a striker. The striker was lured to the club by Max Marty, who had previously served as the chief executive officer of Grenoble, Giroud's former club. From here though, things became hell for Giroud. This is where Giroud's rise to the top looked slimmer and slimmer. Giroud finished the season with 27 total appearances and 14 goals, but Tours failed to get promotion to Ligue 1 on the last match day. In the next season, Giroud was promoted to the lead striker role, a place where he could show his talents to the people that didn't see his value. The promotion immediately paid off as Giroud scored 2 goals in the team's opening match of the season, a 2-1 win over Le Havre in the Coupe de la Ligue. Despite being in the lower divisions of French football, Giroud was showing the exact same skills that he would later use for the French national team. The world just didn't know about him yet. Giroud only began to get recognition at Montpellier. In the 2011-2012 season, he was playing out of his mind. Already given him a nickname, the Charm Striker, due to his incredible goal scoring ability as well as his looks. In the next 18 games in all competitions, Giroud scored 13 goals, including match-winning goals against Nancy, Lyon, and Nice, as well as a hat-trick against Dijon. At this moment, other big clubs were beginning to take notice. And not just because of the goals, but for the value that Giroud brought on the field beyond the goals. They were impressed by Giroud's hold-up play, his heading, as well as his positioning. He was also pretty good on the ball for a player of his size. As we will see later in the video, all of these qualities from Giroud helped France win the World Cup. Giroud finished the season with 21 goals and 12 assists, helping Montpellier win their first Ligue 1 title ever. He was named the league's top scorer. Arsene Wenger, who is known as being a football genius, saw Giroud's ability to not score as much, but still provide the value that is so precious to any team. And without any hesitation, Wenger signed him for Arsenal. He finished the first season with Arsenal with 17 goals and 11 assists in 47 appearances. Although he had a bit of a shaky start in the beginning, I personally think that it was just the stats that looked shaky, and this pattern will show up again for Giroud later in the video. He had some big moments like scoring in Arsenal's famous 4-0 comeback against Reading. He scored the only goal in the North London derby against Tottenham, then scored the 2nd goal in a win against Crystal Palace, keeping Arsenal at the top of the Premier League. Giroud's playstyle had also changed a bit from his Montpellier days, and rightfully so, thanks to the genius of Arsene Wenger. His speed and agility had decreased, but he was much stronger now. He was a proper target man, and Arsenal ran all their attacks through him. Players like Ozil, Walcott, and Santi Cazorla all were able to link up with Giroud, creating some beautiful passages of play. I think everybody remembers this goal from Arsenal.
Wilshere, Cazorla, Giroud gets it back through Wilshere, onside!
Wenger's plan was coming into place. They scored a similar goal against Middlesbrough in the FA Cup, where every player touched the ball before Giroud finished the chance. France used the exact same strategy in the 2018 World Cup. Deschamps had Mbappe, Griezmann, and Pogba all play off of Giroud. Due to Giroud's strength and power, he attracts all the attention, leaving open space for the smaller, quicker players to take advantage of. We will get to that later in the video. Arsenal were now winning games because of Giroud's ability. On March 8th, 2014, Giroud scored twice against Everton in the FA Cup quarter-final with Arsenal, winning 4-1. In the following month, he scored his penalty in a shootout against Wigan to send Arsenal to the FA Cup final. Going into the final at Wembley, there was immense pressure on Arsenal's shoulders. They were the clear favorites going up against Hull City. Despite all the pressure, Giroud stepped up when his team needed him the most. He assisted Aaron Ramsey's goal that ended up being the winner, giving Arsenal a 3-2 win, becoming FA Cup champions. At the start of the next season, Giroud scored the third goal in a 3-0 win for Arsenal against Manchester City, giving the Gunners their second trophy, the Community Shield. Ramsey was one of the few players that really saw Giroud's abilities, and as a result, he benefited the most from Giroud. Giroud assisted Ramsey again and again during big games. When you get the ball up to Giroud, spaces just open up for the attackers. He is an elite target man. With Giroud as the main striker up front and guys like Alexis Sanchez and Mesut Ozil around him, he was opening big spaces for everyone, and Arsenal were playing Giroud ball. Giroud came off the bench to score the first goal in a 2-0 win against Bayern, and then scored a hat-trick away against Olympiacos, helping Arsenal reach the last 16 of the Champions League. Giroud is also known for scoring some crazy acrobatic goals. He scored a backheel scorpion kick volley against Crystal Palace that won the Puskas Award in 2016. Earlier in the season, he had scored a sideways scissor kick. It showed that to become a top striker at this level, you need the technical ability and the qualities of a target man. Giroud had this weird combination, but it wasn't all sunshine and rainbows. Throughout the season, Giroud went on some pretty long scoreless runs. In the March of 2016, Giroud was playing his normal game, impacting the game, but not scoring. But people were going crazy.
Absolutely useless. I mean, not good enough. He was not good enough.
He was on a 12-game scoring drought before he scored against Hull City. Then in May of the same year, he went on a 15-game run where he didn't score a single goal. People could not see Giroud's value outside of goals. And all this media attention was catching up to Giroud as well. He felt bad that the fans were so upset, but he was also confused. In his mind, he was doing his job. All Arsenal had to do was hoof the ball up to Giroud. He would chest it down, hold off the defender, and create space for Ozil and Sanchez to create chances. It's practically impossible to get the ball off of Giroud when he's shielding it. He's basically French Zlatan. He had 6 assists in this season in the Premier League, and he was so important for Arsenal getting out of pressure. These qualities are exactly why Giroud was one of the most important players on the French national team that won the World Cup. Before the tournament, there were some question marks around Giroud. Most fans were sad that Benzema was unable to play, as they saw him as the better striker. Even though Giroud had gotten 3 goals and 2 assists along with the bronze boot in the Euros 2 years earlier, there were people who doubted his ability, especially since there were periods at Arsenal where he couldn't score. The good thing was that Didier Deschamps did not share this feeling. He was seeing the same thing that Arsene Wenger knew in the beginning. Giroud's job in the squad was to be a towering big man who would battle the defenders, creating more freedom for Griezmann and Mbappe to do their thing. In the first game against Australia, Giroud was benched, and it was very clear that every team needs balance. You can't have everyone be a target man like Giroud, but you also can't field a bunch of small skillful guys like it's 2011 Barcelona. Deschamps realized this quickly. After an unconvincing 2-1 win against Australia, it was clear that an attack of Griezmann, Dembele, and Mbappe wasn't going to work. They needed balance, and that's exactly what Giroud would offer. The value of Giroud was seen immediately in the next game against Peru. Giroud was too big for the Peruvian defenders, and every chance for France was coming from his knockdowns and build-up play. Giroud knew where his national team was lacking in the first game, and he selflessly played the role of the target man, letting Griezmann and Mbappe get the spotlight. Not only did Giroud's height and heading help out in the attack, but he was also essential for defending set pieces. It was like having another center back in the box. When you are a striker like me, you always play for the teammates, Giroud said. Obviously, I prefer to have chances and score, but if I can make space for others, I always try and choose the best option for the team. That's the main thing. If we're world champions without me scoring, I don't mind. It means if I'm on the pitch, the boss thinks I can help the team. I've got my part to play. Against Argentina in the round of 16, Giroud set up Mbappe's second goal to help France win 4-3. Deschamps' plan was working. On the 15th of July, France did it. They defeated Croatia 4-2 to win the World Cup. Despite not scoring a single goal and failing to even register a single shot on target, Giroud's fingerprints were all over the France win. By the way, if you think France would have won anyways, you are significantly mistaken. Just look at France's 2021 Euros performance when they had Benzema up front instead of Giroud. The French struggled with Benzema. The system can only work when the tall, handsome man is up front. Even after helping France become world champions, Giroud remained an underrated striker. When he signed for Chelsea in January of 2018, he was seen as an Arsenal reject. In the beginning of his Chelsea career, a lot of doubters thought they were right. But were they? They could not see beyond the stats. Only 7 goals in 29 Premier League appearances in the 2017-2018 season, and just 2 goals in 27 appearances in the next season. But while his league stats weren't great, Giroud showed his value to the Chelsea team in the Europa League campaign of 2019. Similar to the World Cup, knockout football was where Giroud really shined. His run to the final was crazy. Just look at how many games in a row he either assisted or scored. Just like Griezmann and Mbappe on the French national team, the Chelsea attackers were benefiting a lot from Giroud's hold-up play. Shouldn't really be a surprise that a player like Eden Hazard had his best ever individual season playing next to Giroud. We saw the same thing for Griezmann and Mbappe, who each had 4 goals in the 2018 World Cup, with Antoine Griezmann also winning the silver boot and the bronze ball. Giroud's play had helped Chelsea to get to a European final where they met a well-known club, Giroud's former team, Arsenal. I'd be shocked if Giroud didn't take this game personally. It wasn't just a final, but a moment to make Arsenal regret ever selling him. Despite helping the Gunners win 2 FA Cups, I think a portion of the Arsenal fans blamed Giroud for why the team crumbled in the 2016 season. They had a real chance as they spent a lot of time at the top of the table, but unfortunately, they went trophyless. In the final, Giroud ended up scoring and providing 2 assists to help Chelsea win 4-1. He reminded people that while he can help his team without scoring, that doesn't mean he can't score goals. That's what Giroud is, a serial winner. When Arsenal got rid of him, he went on to help Chelsea lift a Europa League. When Chelsea got rid of him, he went to Milan, helping them to a Scudetto. He became the oldest player to get double-digit goals in his debut season in Serie A. But again, it flies under the radar of stats. From hold-up play to assisting to scoring goals, Giroud provides everything you want in a target man. Selfless, hardworking, he is a manager's dream player. How many top strikers would have been willing to cut their individual numbers for the benefit of the team as a whole? That's why Giroud is a world champion. While Giroud's hold-up play is incredibly underrated, let me show you a video on somebody else who's incredibly underrated. Toni Kroos. Check out this video right here.